Next guest is no stranger to her involvement in a lot of things statewide, including education, as, of course, she is high up within the University of Louisiana at Monroe, which a lot of alums live in our neck of the woods with ULM. She, of course, is a longtime educator. It is our thrill to welcome to the show for the first time Dr. Julia Letlow. Good morning, Julia. How are you?
Good morning, Matthew and Jim. It's a pleasure to be on the show.
Good morning to you.
Thank you so much for spending some time with us. And obviously, this goes without saying, but our deepest sympathies and condolences to the entire Letlow family, to your kids and everyone. As Luke, if it's one thing that I learned after your husband passed away, and I had been told throughout the campaign by many people here in Alexandria how many lives he had touched, but I think it really got even amplified after he tragically passed away. So thank you so much from the bottom of our hearts for everything that your family has done for Louisiana.
And I add to that, too.
Thank you so much. The outpouring of love and support and prayers and just quite frankly, the stories that I, too, have heard about Luke after his passing that I didn't even know about has been lifting me up in this really tragic time in our lives.
Absolutely. You know, a good friend of both of ours, Trish Lala, the real estate developer here in central Louisiana, told me a story about when the Hurricane Laura came through Alexandria. And Luke was one of the first phone calls. What do you guys need? What can we do? What can I do? Do I need to come down there? All of those types of things. And then also back when the pandemic first started, Luke was instrumental, and I don't know if a lot of people know this, at establishing the Sinlock Cares Facebook group, which I think last count 16,000 members of it to try to get people who may have needed something, whether it was something simple like toilet paper or anything like that. Luke was instrumental in getting that launched. Did you know those two stories, by the way?
I didn't know the first one, but I'm glad you reminded me about the second one. I'd forgotten about that. He was telling me about that, and we were checking on the page, and that's just a heartwarming reminder. So thank you for sharing that.
Our pleasure. Well, you made the decision, obviously, to try to fulfill the seat that he unfortunately was unable to be sworn into. Why decide with all of the things that you're involved with? Obviously, one of the senior members of the administration there with ULM, a very accomplished person with a PhD, and probably you could have written your ticket for life in the world of education. Why decide to go into a field that's as murky and swampy as ever and head up to D.C.? Sure.
Well, Luke and I shared a dream and a vision together, like I'm sure a lot of couples do. And our dream and our vision was to best serve our region and our district in whatever the Lord called us to do. My background has been to do that in education, and I really see education as a way to be a catalyst to lift a region out of poverty. And, we live in one of the most poverty-stricken districts in the nation. And so that was always before both of us. His calling was in government and to find ways to help in that regard. And so, over the last, and specifically the last 6 years, Luke served as Congressman Abraham's chief of staff. I had what some would call a front row seat into all that government is able to do in assistance, just like those two examples you cited earlier. And so one thing he taught me is that if you go into it with a servant's heart and what you can do for others, then somebody in government really can make a difference if they have that before them. And so, we shared those dreams together. And then when he tragically passed away, it just became apparent to me that I wanted to carry that torch and continue to be in service. So,
did you travel the district very much with him?
I sure did. I actually went to all 24 parishes.
Wow.
Yeah, we went on a good old fashioned stump tour. Luke, one of his dreams was to do that. Hitch a trailer to the back of the truck and drive around to all 24 parishes. So that was such an incredible experience for our family. We took the kids, and I was able to meet and talk with so many people around the district, all the way down to Bogalusa, and just really connect with people on that intimate one-on-one level and hear from them their dreams and their ideas on how to better the district. But it wasn't only that. Luke and I, again, we were a team, and would travel around with him for the last 9 months. We've really been on the road.
Let me ask you this. And by the way, we're talking with Dr. Julia Letlow. She is running for 5th District congressional seat here in the state of Louisiana, one that her husband, of course, would have been sworn in. Let me ask you this, Dr. Letlow. Do you I guess when was the point that you knew you were going to run? Was that almost, and I don't want to say instantly after your husband passed away, but was it within, say, that first week or two after Luke lost his life that you got this calling? I hear from so many elected officials that it's a calling. Did that calling come shortly thereafter?
It did. I was humbled and quite frankly surprised that other people kind of had that dream and vision before I did. But it was shortly thereafter that I'm a woman of faith, and once that idea was presented, of course, Luke and I had talked many times about, me possibly running for office later down the road. Of course, this was his time, and I was 1,000% behind it. But we both kind of shared that dream, like I mentioned earlier, about service, and talked about maybe me running one day. But I felt that it wasn't my time; it was Luke's, and so after that, I just had that. Prayed about it. I had to get, that support in line. I needed to know from both sides of our families that they were supportive. And, once I had that confirmation from so many people, but most important to me, that peace from the Lord, then I knew that the calling was the right time, and I was all in.
Would you mind we've got a full board of people that want to talk. We're going to ask the callers to stay brief. Would you mind taking a few phone calls with the audience?
Sure.
Thank you. Hold tight here. Go ahead. You're on with Dr. Julia Letlow.
Hey, Matt, Jim, and Mrs. Letlow. This is Cornelius White. I don't remember me. I'm the African-American. I was really supporting Luke. I called him Luke the Duke Letlow, so that was my little nickname for him and stuff. I hope you'll go after Moon, because Moon said you shouldn't be running, but I'm supporting you 100%. I'm going to try to get as many African-American Democrats, Republicans, Libertarians, and stuff to back your campaign and stuff. And like I said, I love you, Ms. Ludlow. You listened to me just like Luke did, and I met you 3 times on the campaign trail, so I look forward to meeting you again here in Alexandria. So God bless you, ma'am, and go win.
Absolutely. Thank you so much.
All right. Next caller, you're on with Dr. Letlow. Go ahead.
Good morning, Dr. Letlow. Thank you for taking my call, and my condolences to your family in this time of loss. And it sounds like you are bearing up well, and I'm proud. We prayed for your family, and I'm proud of your spirit. My question is more along for your expertise in education. Before the Democrats captured our country, they captured the educational system, especially higher education. In your time there, have you seen anything moving to reverse that? Is there any? Louisiana is considered a pretty conservative state, but yet I know from kids that I've known that have gone to school, my kids especially, the opposition they run into from the left in the secondary educational system. And so, is there any hope that conservatives can retake that area of our culture? And I'll hang up, listen to you. Thank you, ma'am, for your service.
Thank you so much, and for the question. Higher education historically has been a place of free thinking and free speech, and I'm proud of that, where all views can be heard. I don't believe that professors should be forcing their personal views on students. And so, anytime I ever hear of that, then, I'm going to stand up against that. So, but, I again, my heart is in higher education, and I want to protect our freedom of speech, of free learning. Those college years are formative years, and so, of course, want those values to be protected. But again, it needs to be a free place of speech and learning.
He kind of segued us in, and we're going to spend a couple more minutes with you, then we'll let you out of here. But Dave kind of segued us into a couple of policy questions, as this is the first time that Jim and myself have had the chance to chat with you. What are some of the things, some of the executive orders that President Biden has signed in the past couple of days? I know that a lot of people in the oil industry are very concerned right now. Has he done anything in his first 2 days in office that concern you?
Well, oil and gas is a huge part of our economy as a state. And so, of course, that is very concerning to me, and the jobs that are lost. So, I mean, hearing of that just yesterday, I've been staying abreast of everything. Yesterday was a whirlwind qualifying, so I need to do some more reading about everything that went down. But, from what I've seen so far, that's disappointing with oil and gas.
Another question that I had for you is we asked this to Luke multiple times, but a lot of people in central Louisiana in this district kind of feel like they are the odd people out, I guess, that some people say it's a, quote, Monroe district and so on and so forth, which I'm sure you've heard that before. And I had a question here from someone influential here in the community that said, will she represent everyone, including Sinlaw? We always feel like Sinlaw is an afterthought because the district is Monroe-centric with the population. Loved Doc, loved Rodney, loved Luke, but will she do the same thing?
Absolutely. The district encompasses, it's 24 parishes, as you know, all the way from the northeast tip all the way down to the Booth and Bogalusa. And it was Luke's heart. I want your listeners to hear it is my heart to represent every single person from the district. And really the only way you can do that is to get out and listen to them and visit and travel and be a part of their lives. And so I carry that same determination, and I will be a representative for all the people in the district.
Jim, did you have anything else?
I just wanted to get a little of your personal background. You're a native of Mississippi and moved to Start when you were what? How old?
I'm actually not a native of Mississippi. My dad is from Meridian, Mississippi.
Right.
My mom is from Denver, Colorado. They met on Lowry Air Force Base when my dad was serving, and actually moved down to Monroe, Louisiana, before I was born. So I was born in Monroe, a native of this district, actually.
Right. Good. I'm glad you could clear that up for Jim.
Where did you grow up?
I grew up in Monroe, born and raised.
Where did you move? When did you move to Start?
Sure. So I met Luke in high school, and then we reconnected at an LSU-ULM game many years after. And
what was the result of that game? I'm just curious. No, go ahead. Yeah.
I can't even go there with you.
Yeah.
It was heartbreaking for me. So we reconnected later, and we're married. And after we were married, he moved me out to Start, and I can't tell you how much I love being in the country. I love the rural way of life. That's the backbone of this district. And so it's just given me a deeper appreciation for agriculture and what that contributes to our district. And so, I love the conveniences of city life, I have a new appreciation for how much of our district is, in fact, rural.
I've got very, very quick 2 more questions for you. One more background question. I see you got did you get your PhD at South Florida?
I did. University of South Florida in Tampa.
That's right.
Great experience.
My girlfriend lives steps away from that campus, so I'm very familiar with the campus.
It's huge. It's bigger than LSU.
It is.
It was a great experience.
What, 50,000 students? It's insane.
Yeah.
And then a final question that I've gotten from multiple callers. Doc did this for us when he was congressman, and your husband publicly promised this on the air. If elected, will you join us consistently, hopefully once a week, in a segment like this to answer questions from your constituents?
It would be my absolute honor, and you have my promise and commitment.
Thank you, ma'am. God bless, and we will talk with you a little bit later in the campaign.
God bless y'all. Thanks again.
Take care.